Hey everyone, this is Mark with the Foss Home Tribe here at Keller Williams Realty, and it is May, time for your May 2015 edition of our virtual real estate newsletter for Central Virginia, FossTalk. And you know, we've spent a lot of time this year talking about the virtues of buying and the market timing for selling. Last month we explained how it's not necessarily mutually exclusive to be a good time to buy and to sell. You hear a lot of talk these days about the virtues of home ownership, how it creates wealth. We in fact saw a graphic this past week that Teddy Roosevelt and Andrew Carnegie were proponents of home ownership over a century ago. And while we certainly are firm believers of the value of home ownership, and it would be great if everyone could own a home or could even afford to own a home, home ownership is not necessarily for everyone. And I know the politicians won't agree with me on that, but some people just aren't suited for home ownership. And there are some things and some pitfalls that you should be aware of when you start to think about, is it time for you to buy a home or buy another home? And I thought we'd spend just a few minutes going over those three things. That wasn't too bad. Okay, the three things that home buyers should know before they go into the process of buying a home. Number one is the expense. That just because you can qualify for the mortgage doesn't mean that there are not going to be additional expenses tied to the property. And you know, when you rent a home and something goes wrong, you make a phone call to the owner of the home or the property manager to come take care of it. But when you own the home, that expense and that responsibility falls on you, the homeowner. Risk. There was a belief 10 years ago that real estate never went down in value, and especially personal homes never went down in value, that it always appreciated. That myth has been bursted, and we now know that real estate values, like everything else, can go up and down. So you do take a certain amount of risk when you buy a home, that when the time comes to sell it, it may not be worth what you paid for it. It might be worth more, it might be worth less, it might be worth the same. But there's no guarantee that it's going to be worth more than what you paid for it. And there are plenty of people in the marketplace, plenty of people living in homes that are worth less than what they even owe on the property, which is fine if you can continue to afford to pay the mortgage, because our philosophy is pay the mortgage down as quickly as possible. Then when the time comes to sell, your equity position will offset any imbalance in the marketplace. And when that time comes to sell, there's one thing you have to remember about real estate. Unlike a stock or even a bond, liquidity in the real estate marketplace is not as fluid as it is in other markets. And just because you need to sell and put your house on the market, as many people have found out painfully so, you don't know when that buyer is going to show up and make an offer on your home. It's impossible to predict. It might happen the first weekend, as happens with almost all of our homeowners who employ our 60-day home selling system and use our system for getting up to 18% more for your home than traditional agents can sell it for. But the liquidity issue comes into play when it's time to move on, whereas if you're renting, obviously you know when the lease is up and you have the option to just move on to the next opportunity or to the next living situation. You can check out our blog, my blog post this month, to get a little bit more information and background about that. We'll be holding a seminar on Is Home Ownership Right for You in the coming months to try to help people make that decision and understand what the responsibilities are of home ownership. Now this month we're bringing a lot of great properties to the market. We just brought one in Salisbury, a nice 10-acre property out in Hanover. Check those out. Check out all the homes in the MLS, as well as our regular features. And of course, don't forget to sign up for our Market Snapshot if you want to keep an eye on your neighborhood or other neighborhoods. Enjoy your edition of FossTalk for May, and we will see you in a couple of weeks with our Market Mojo. This is Mark with the Foss Home Tribe at Keller Williams Realty. We're lighting your way home.